Hey guys, HackerSploit here. Welcome back to the Hack the Box walkthrough series. In this video, we're going to be getting started with the Devel box, which is primarily, it is a Windows box, and it's primarily dealing with CVE exploitation. So that's what you typically find with a Windows box. Usually you have CVEs or custom exploitation. Just given the types of services that would be running on a Windows server or a Windows system like Windows 7, Windows 10, etc. So you can take a look at the difficulty rating here. So we're just going to get started immediately, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cat the Nmap results I have here. So you can take a look at the options I specified. So a bit of service enumeration and aggressive scan, and we essentially scanned all the ports, and these are the results that I was able to gather. So the first thing you see is we have an FTP server, more specifically a Microsoft FTPD server, and it has an anonymous FTP login allowed, which we can actually use to log into that FTP server. And we also have a Microsoft web server or a Microsoft IIS HTTPD 7.5 running, and you can take a look at the FTP server and the directory listings that Nmap is able to give us, and you can immediately tell that we have ASP.NET client. So that means we're dealing with ASP.NET here, which is very interesting. So, and then we have the IIS.start.htm page, which should give us, that should be the default web server if it's giving us those files, and immediately you can see that yes, that is the case. So we can try and log into the FTP server. Let's see if that works. So I'm just going to paste in the IP here, and I'll say anonymous, and I'll just hit enter, and we're able to log in very, very simply, right? So if I list the current directory here, you can see we get the files that Nmap was able to enumerate, and this pretty much tells us that we have access to the web server, so we can pretty much upload files. So the first thing we want to do is we can use this as an attack vector. So we can generate a payload with MSF Venom, a web payload, more specifically a ASP.NET payload. It's very different than classic ASP, where you'd have an ASP payload. So if we go to MSF Venom, I'm just going to open up a new tab here. So say MSF Venom, and we say the payload is going to be Windows, and this is going to be a interpreter session, and reverse, we'll just say reverse TCP. Lhost is going to be the IP, my local IP, but of course it's going to be tunnel 0. So there we are, that's the interface. So this is the IP right over here. So we're going to set that IP, and then we'll set the port here. We'll just set it as at 1234, so that it's as unambiguous as possible. The format is going to be ASPX, and that's because we're dealing with ASP.NET. So if we would use an ASP standard or classic ASP module, then I'm pretty sure this Microsoft web server would not be configured to actually run any ASP files. Rather, it would be configured to run ASPX files. So we can actually test that right now. So I'm just going to output this, and I'm just going to call it shell.aspx, and we're going to let that generate the payload for us. And once that is done, we can actually start up MSF Venom. So we're saying MSF Venom, and oh sorry, not MSF Venom, the Metasploit console. And what we can do is we can upload the shell. So if I just exit from here and list the files, yes, we have the shell right over here because I saved it in my working directory. So we'll just use the FTP server one more time, and I'll just log in, and I'll say put shell.aspx, and it's going to complete the transfer. And yes, we have the shell.aspx file right over there, or the payload. So we're going to use the multi-handler. So exploit multi-handler, and we'll set the payload to Windows interpreter, and we'll say reverse TCP, I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to show the options. We're going to say set the lhost to turn 0, and the L port to what we had set to 1234, and we can now listen for that, and we can open this up in the web server. Did we actually open that up? For some reason it executed. That's weird. So we get an interpreter session. That's very weird. ASPX, can we, yeah, so it actually processes. So in any case, we get the shell. which is very weird. So if I exit and let's unself console, let's just try that one more time. For some reason that already executed. I'm not sure or entirely sure why. And we'll just set the host to down 0. With those the options, for some reason that did not even actually set that. So set l host to tunnel 0. That's weird. If I just check that, let's just check this one more time. We still have the IP, so let me just make sure that is set correctly. So set l host, and for some reason let's do that right now. All right, so that's set. L port 1234. Hit run. Let's hit run, and yeah, so now it's listening. So if I refresh this, do we get the session? All right, so we get the session. So for some reason that actually ran. That's very weird. But in any case, we are now greeted with a interpreter session. So the first thing we want to do is we want to enumerate some information about the system. So sysinfo, we can see it's a Windows 7 box, 32-bit system. And if we just go into a shell and let's see what privileges we have. So if I type in who am I, you can see we're running as the Microsoft IIS or the Microsoft Web Server service or app pool web. So that pretty much means that if we try and if I say C, let's go into the C directory and we say C users and I say dir, let's go into Babis for example, and we see access is denied. All right, so that means we need to escalate privileges. The easiest way to do this, if I say get system, using the typical script kiddie methods of using the interpreter get system tool, you can see that it tries some various exploitation vectors that all fail, and that is denoted by this little red marker here. So what I'll do is I'll just background this session and I will say search for the suggester. So we want to look for the local exploit suggester, and this is typical, or this is very similar to your Linux exploit suggestion or suggester tool or script that you typically copy over to the Linux system that you're exploiting. So if we use this, let me just put that in there, show options. So we need to only provide the session that we're dealing with. So if I say sessions, if I list the sessions that we only have one session with the ID of 1. So if I say set session, and I'm going to say set it to 1, and I'm going to run this, and let's see if we can collect some exploits that we can use. All right, so I'm just going to let that run and enumerate. This shouldn't take too much time given that we're dealing with a 32-bit version of Windows 7. So let's see what we're able to get. In fact, since we're not dealing with the 64-bit, we didn't even have to migrate to a 64-bit process, but we should have actually taken a look at the process before we began this. But in any case, we can see we have some popular privilege escalation exploits like the shell elevator, which we should try. Let's see if that actually works. We also have the MS 13053, which is right over here. That should work as well. You can see that for these two, we have the following information. We actually are being told that the target appears to be vulnerable. So let's try out the shell elevator exploit first. So I'm just going to copy that and I'll just get rid of that colon. Show options. We're going to set the session to 1 and let's hit run. All right, so we're going to let that run. Let's see if this actually is able to complete the exploit. So you can see it actually, by the way, you can Google these exploits. I'll be making a video covering Windows exploits and more information about them. But you can actually Google as to what exactly is happening. I'm not really sure what this exploit does, but I know the MS13053 is relatively stable in regards to what it does. So this will typically inject a DLL into a process to which you can then migrate to. So if we just say use, and we're going to use this one, so let's get rid of that colon, and we show the options. We're going to set the session. So we're going to set the session to 1, and I'm just going to hit run. So let's see if that actually works now. So it's going to run the exploit. So it's going to launch Notepad to the host to host the exploit, and then we can see it's working with a process. It's reflectively injecting the exploit DLL into the process ID of 1044. And it finds the winlogon.exe with the process ID of 452. So what we need to do now is we go back into session 1 and we list the processes in here. Let's see the process that we actually have now. We can see that if we look for 452, we have the winlogon process, and if we try and migrate into it, so we say migrate 452, I believe, was it? So we're just gonna migrate 452. So it's gonna migrate from 2044, which is the one the process that we are currently injected into using one of these services, the inetserv service. So the migration was successful. So if I just get into a shell and I say, who am I? And by the way, we're already in NT authority and in the administrator folder. So we can simply just cat the root.txt file. So if I cat that, for some reason that's telling me, let me just exit back into my Meterpreter session. So cat root.txt.txt. For some reason, it actually took me directly into the desktop of the administrator, but we get the root flag. So let's go back now and let's see what other users we have here. So I believe the user was Babis. Yes, it is Babis. So if we list the files for Babis, we're just going to go into the desktop. I remember Windows, has quite a few directories for any user account. So cat user.txt.txt, and we get the user flag. So that was relatively simple. A quick summary of what we just did. We were able to enumerate the services that we had running on this particular target, and we saw we had an FTP server that was directly connected or gave us access to the contents of the web server, through which we were able to upload a payload or a reverse shell, and we were able to upload an ASP.NET reverse shell, and we generated that through MSF Venom. So there's a big difference between ASP and ASP.NET in regards to how it processes ASP files and ASPX files. So we generated an ASPX payload, and we were able to upload it through the FTP server. And because we had anonymous FTP logins that were actually allowed, and we were able to get a reverse shell. We then used the local exploit suggester on Metasploit to actually enumerate the various privilege escalation exploits that we can use. We tried the shell elevator exploit, which failed, and then we tried MS13053, which was able to successfully give us sufficient privileges to get the root and the user flags. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you thought about this box, whether you want me to focus more on Windows boxes or Linux boxes, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.